right. Mr. Johnson, good afternoon.
My name is Saul Johnson.
What's your DOC number?
87601, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Johnson, we have a lot of interest in your case, so let me just acknowledge the folks who are joining us. We have the Parole Project, Mr. Myers, Rosa Terry, Raymond Johnson, Alfay Fernandez, and Kim Johnson, all of whom are here in support. In opposition, we have Elaine Nunn, Jerlene Nunn, Otha Logan, Brandy Wyndham, Kendrick Sutton, Walter Tyson, Birdie Reed, Carolyn Reed, Lamone Wyndham, Mary Reed, Gregory Wyndham, Tamika Wyndham, and Sandria Summerall. We have speaking in support will be Mr. Myers and your sister, Miss Terry. Speaking in opposition, Lamone Wyndham, Mary Reed, and Gregory Wyndham, as well as Elaine Nunn. And we'll call on everybody who's indicated they'll be speaking at the appropriate time. First, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to read some information into the record, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman. Your case has been assigned to him.
Ma'am.
So, Mr. Johnson, you're here this afternoon seeking a commutation of your sentence. And you have a sentencing date, November 1989. You pled guilty to count 1, which was first-degree murder without capital punishment. You were sentenced to life without parole, probation, or suspension of sentence. Another sentencing date in September 1994. After you had an appeal, you were found guilty of second-degree murder as to count 2. You were sentenced to life without parole, probation, or suspension of sentence. Is that information correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right. Would you answer Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Johnson, just to clear something up, I'm a little confused. I thought I read where at first the jury came back with a death sentence verdict.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
1986.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mention it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I just wanted to clear that up. So at first you were sentenced to death, then they re-sentenced you, and you got 2 second-degree murder charges, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. And how old are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm 55.
Okay. And how long have you been in prison?
38 years.
How old were you when you committed these crimes?
I think 24, 23, 24, something like, sir.
All right. And what's your educational level?
I have a BA in Christian ministry.
Mr. Johnson, I read your file thoroughly. I had to read it a couple of times because I got confused a couple of times. So tell me what went on. What led to the argument? What led to you killing these 2 ladies?
Early Nunn, Miss Early Nunn, Miss Sue Winham, and I engaged in a heated argument. Well, I realized we were engaged into a fight. The fight had got out of control, which should have never happened, and it wound up taking Miss Earlene and Miss Susan Winham life. I allowed my emotion to get the best of me. And I'm very remorseful for the irreparable pain and suffering I've caused Miss Earlene and Miss Suham family and the community that I disrupted in my own family. There was no one's fault but mine.
Okay.
There was no justification for what happened. It was, I was totally wrong. And I take full responsibility for my wrongness today.
I understand. But we still got to get to all of the facts concerning your crimes. So did you attempt to rape Miss Wyndham?
No, sir. Sir, the rape was, the court had showed that it was possibility that when women had sex with her boyfriend or something. I have never taken a sperm test, and I have never, I'm not had sex with, no, Miss, I was engaged, had an affair with Miss Suhan, Miss Nunn, not Miss Wyndham. Miss Nunn was my fiance at the time.
Well, wasn't Miss Wyndham found with just her blouse on and a shower cap?
That's what the report says, sir.
What the report says, I want to know what you say.
I have never had sex with it.
But she was found with just a shower cap and
yes,
her shirt.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you about this. So you killed Miss Wyndham and you went drop her body out. Did you kill them both at the same time, or was one a later murder?
No, sir, it happened at the same time.
Why didn't you dump them both at the same site?
Because that's what we had got into argument. And on our way there, that's when the fight started out while I was in the car. And I lost control of my emotion.
Yeah, but I mean, you killed Wyndham and you put her in the woods.
Right there, sir, at the same time.
And then you killed Miss Nunn and you brought her further down?
Right there at the same time, at the same spot.
But you didn't leave both bodies right there.
Yes.
Both bodies were in the same spot.
That's where it happened at, sir, right there in the same.
Yeah, I'm not saying where it happened. I'm trying to figure out why would you dump one body one place and then they find another body another place?
I have no idea, sir. It all happened at the same time right there through our arguments fighting in the car.
There's, police report says that Miss Nunn had scratches from her. So obviously she fought back and that it was from the bushes where she was left.
It's Brian moment.
I'm gonna move on. Okay. Jewelry was found in your car, correct?
That's what the police folks say, sir.
Yes. Okay. I'm looking at the classes you've taken. You've taken a ton of classes, huh?
Yes, sir.
What class you got the most out of?
100-hour victim awareness. I have to say it's a mix of all 100-hour victim awareness and thank you for a chance. Those three combined together, I got the most out of, because 100 hours, I was able to recognize that it was man that taught me mostly like trigger, what is trigger based upon. Trigger is something that makes a person react in a negative way, would pull the trigger subject. And that's what I did. And from victim awareness, it shows me that my action, it caused what it caused another person to do, how it affects another person. And in the way that I approach myself or things that I say can cause another person to react in another way. And it kind of, it fit me because of that temper I had at the time, and it helped me a long way, helped me through my journey.
Okay, so What effect you think you had on the community and the families of these victims?
I think I had a great impact upon them from what I have done, and what I've done was totally wrong, and it caused a great effect upon the family of Miss Erlina and Miss Sue Winham.
You have law enforcement opposition. Your daughter is unopposed. Opposed is the superintendent of police in New Orleans. We didn't get a comment from the sheriff's office, which we don't, from New Orleans. We have the victims here that will be speaking later, victims' families. Tell me about this Rule 20 that you Rule 1 you violated in 2020. What was that about?
Rule, a fiance of mine, she was coming to see. I met her while we was here, and a friend of mine had enlightened me that I need to call home that someone had passed it. I said, "What you mean? Someone had passed it in her family?" So I asked the guy, "Let me use this phone," and truly, I didn't know how to use the phone. And he gave it to me, and I asked the free lady, she was coming by. I said, "Ma'am, you be any motion?" She said, "No, I cannot do that for you." She said, "Come on, well, let's go to the office." And she told him what had happened, and the major called. And when he did call the family, they enlightened that my fiance had passed it. And that was the reaction from yes. And I used it and found out that she did die because she was on dialysis at the time, and she had removed the patch from her off leg and bled to death in the tub.
So it was a contraband write-up, though. How could that be a contraband? It was a cell phone?
Yes, sir. That's what it was. And it called it a contraband, 96 21, I think.
All right. And what about back in 2014, you also had another contraband write-up. What was that about?
Tobacco, smoking.
Tobacco. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I take it you never took any sex offender treatment since you've been in prison?
No, sir.
Okay. I see where it wouldn't be required because of what you pled to. You had an armed robbery charge. And while you was incarcerated, you got a broken shoulder. How did you get that broken shoulder?
Sir, I had got that broken shoulder. I was trustee on a ranch crew, and I fell off the truck going through Cartville. We was doing fits and fences, and I fell off the truck and broke my shoulder.
You have a low risk, low needs. What's your current job over there?
My current job is I work in a laundry at the hospital, washing clothes for those who are unable to wash for themselves. I'm a truck driver also for the hospital treatment center. Within a week, I'll go and pick up supplies for the hospital and for the kitchen.
And Warren, do you have any comments for us?
Mr. Freeman, you covered pretty much everything, including that write-up that he had in 20. Really, I don't have a whole lot else that I can offer to you at this point.
Okay. Does he do any community service? I saw he was an inmate counselor at one time.
No, sir. I went on missionary for.
Okay.
He did graduate from NOBTS, so he has been utilized as a missionary, and he has done ministry work here. Yeah.
Okay, ministry work. Okay. You know, we had a lot of statements, over 20 of them, which we've read. I've read. I'm sure my fellow board members read them also. So that's all the questions I have, Mr. Knox.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We'd like to hear from the support now, Mr. The Pearl Project, please.
Good afternoon, Kerry Myers with the Louisiana Parole Project. Mr. Johnson's been incarcerated now for 40 years. He was 23 years old at the time these crimes were committed. During that time of incarceration, he's earned a certification in horticulture. He's graduated from New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. He has done missionary work in two different other institutions. He's completed victim awareness, thinking for a change, anger management, 100 hours. In 40 years, he has a total of only 43 write-ups. Most of those write-ups, the vast majority, came in the early days of his incarceration. He is a Class A trustee. He has shown he has strong family support. Parole Project will support him through this transition. He will be with us here in Baton Rouge for at least a month minimum while he's working on that transition. While here, he will get support in things like technology, consumer skills. We'll connect him to healthcare. We'll make sure he learns his programming and social norms and financial management. We plan to support him, and he has a long-term plan with his family that's very viable. And so we would just ask, based on his time served, his age, his accomplishments, that the board give him a recommendation today.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Rose Perry. Oh, we have her on the phone. She had some technical issues. So Ms. Terry, are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am. We'd like to hear what you have to say. And you are Mr. Johnson's sister?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Curse, my brother Saul, the shot off, and changed his life, turned his life around, and God died. He's had a lot of education, took a lot of class, helped a lot of people, so that they can turn their life around. And please allow the opportunity to peace to society, surrounded by where he can continue to thrive and
thank you, ma'am. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us today. We appreciate it. That's all we have in opposition, so we'll move to the victim's family. First, we'd like to hear from Miss Elaine Nunn.
Good morning. I'm Elaine Nunn, the daughter of Erlene Nunn. This is my mama I'm currently holding right here, and I'm speaking in her behalf and my family. I lost my mom to Saul Johnson. Saul Johnson killed my mom and Sue Woodham. He stalked them, and he hunted them down, and he killed them. I only had 7 years with my mom. I didn't get a chance to grow up with my mom. My kids didn't even get a chance to meet my mom. Saul Johnson has caused my family so much grief and pain that has lasted a lifetime. I feel Saul Johnson has no remorse for what he did to my mother and my cousin. I do not feel that Saul Johnson is sorry for what he has done because of what he did. I had to be raised by my grandparents, my aunts, and uncles. Although I had my family there to be there for me, there's nothing like the love of a mother to her child. Not having a mother has affected me emotionally, mentally, physically, and most of all, spiritually. Still to this day, I don't know exactly what day that Saul Johnson killed my mother. I only know the date that we buried her. I remember one day my grandfather was walking me to school, and we saw Saul Johnson standing below my mother's apartment complex, and he had a smirk on his face. And later on that day, I realized that it was confirmed that my mother was dead and was gone forever from me. I also remember being afraid of Saul Johnson, and he was a mean and cruel and non-remorseful person. And I believe he is the same way today. I say this because he has never written an apology to me or nor my family. My mother will never ever meet my kids, and he viciously kidnapped and tortured and raped my mother and cousin. And because of Saul Johnson, I have been in therapy for most of my life to the reasons with all of this. But there are some things that seems to be amount that no therapy can help, that bring my mother back to me. He purposely killed and tortured 2 women. He didn't care about them nor their family. Saul is a controlled narcissist who did not care that my mother had a peace bond against him, and she wanted him to stay away. I recall one day Saul Johnson tried to throw my mother over the balcony, and that is why she got a peace bond against him. I know this myself, and my mother pleaded and begged against him to not to throw her over. I know that he's intimidating, and he's a stalker, and he didn't care that she had a peace bond. And later I learned that he threatened to kill other family members as well. I also learned that Saul Johnson has a history of violent behavior towards his family, his ex-wife, and others. Because of this is an ongoing violent behavior. I am sure that he need not to be released. He will kill again. So that society does not need another killer on the streets. And I feel Saul may even come after me and my family for even saying this today. Saul Johnson has agreed to life in prison without parole. Rather than staying in prison for the remainder of his sentence, he chose to have us here today. And I still believe that he has not changed. So if he wants to say that he is a changed person, he will stay in there and serve his time. And I pray that this board finds Saul Johnson unfit for release, as he does not deserve to be released in this society, because society does not need another killer on the streets. So I ask that this board keep him locked up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your remarks. And then we have the Wyndham family who are here with us. Could we first hear from Lamone Wyndham?
I'm the favorite boy. Stupid. Saul Johnson getting out. Great. Shot my mom in the head 3 times with 38 for no reason. And my brother grew up, my grandparents raised me. We grew up. I was 4 years old when it happened. He was 24. He might be a changed man. That's between him and God. He don't deserve to be out. He deserves to be where he is today. It's been hard to me ever since it's been going on. I've been dealing with this since April when I first got that letter in mail. It's been stressful, it's been painful. It's been hurt. The way a person can take someone's life and just leave me in the wood like they're a piece of dog or animal just for no reason. I think he should not be fit. He's not fit to be released. I think he will kill again. I think he tried when he first got locked up. He hit man to get people trying to have it. That's why he killed multiple people's guy in California testified against him, trying to have him killed. He's just a serial killer. He don't need to be locked. He need to be locked up and not be released. Sorry. I'm asking now to keep him in.
Thank you, sir. We have Mary reading. Mary reading. Sue's oldest sister out of 9 children. Sue was the middle child. This child. Saul had a choice. He planned this. He meditated. He didn't have to do what he did. He had a wife. He had a family. And he didn't think no more of his family than he thought of our relatives. He did what he wanted to do. Nobody should take nothing that they can't give back. We miss Sue. We miss Earlene. Earlene and I are the same age, born the same year, just about 3 months different in age. And Saul want to be a man now, and all he done did and been through and put us through, he want to find grounds that he should be able to walk and walk as a free man. No, he need to be where he is. He need to be behind a locked door the rest of his life. There was no decent in the way he did, and no reason why he should have did what he did. Yes, he raped my sister, and he know he did. He shot her in her head 3 times. She was placed in a car. And Earlene managed to get the earring out of her ear. After he put her in there, had her tied down. While he was dumping Sue's body, Earlene got out the car and ran. He ran her down. That's the reason why they went in the same place. And his sister-in-law said that he bragged about what she said. She said, when he ran her down, she said, "Will you let me say my prayers?" And he went back and told his sister-in-law, "I let that beast say her prayers, and I shot her." Now, you don't do an animal like that. You don't do an animal like that. He did it. He had a choice. So he chose prison. Let that be his home from now on. Miss Mamie, thank you so much. Okay.
I'm Greg Muslim. I'm the oldest son. I have 5 kids of my own. And I don't see no justification in this. Matter of fact, I don't even see why we even here. I'm gonna be honest with you. If we would have killed 2 white women, would Saul Johnson be alive right now? I'm gonna just be honest with you. He would be dead. He would be in the electric chair, living in jail. I'm just gonna be honest. But he don't kill 2 black women, and we all sitting around him. Now he got a chance to walk around free. Ain't no justification for this. The man should be dead. We should be over his grave site. I've been angry all my life. I've been hurt. I've been lonely. My grandparent is deceased now. They just recently deceased. Now I'm back being hurt, angry, and mad, lonely. 44 years of my life I've been mad because of this man. And y'all think this right. I should be on my job working, making money, taking care of my family, but I'm gonna be on looking at the man who took 2 lives. Ain't no justification in this. None. It's sickness. He's sick. If y'all think he deserves to be out, y'all sick too. I'm just gonna be honest.
All right, sir, thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to say to the board. I'm very remorseful for the pain and suffering I caused Miss Nunn family, Miss Wyndham family, my family also. I can't change the past at all. But if the board give me an opportunity, I am really remorseful for everything I've done. But I know I'm not that person. I tried hard since I've been here to try to gain everything that is possible I can to rehabilitate myself. I went to school. I took every course I can. I try to help everybody that I can. And I'm just sorry for what has taken place. And I know it's kind of hard for the family to swallow, but I'm really remorseful for everything that I've done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Board prepared to vote? Mr. Freeman?
You know, Mr. Johnson, you have done well in prison. There's no doubt about it. But then you look at the other side of things and you've devastated 2 families. And it wasn't 1 murder, it was 2 murders, you know. And I just can't with a good conscience vote to release you today. My vote is to deny.
Mrs. Jackson?
Mr. Johnson, I'm really troubled about circumstances surrounding the crimes that you've committed. I don't think you've been honest with us about why you killed them. You know, a fight then turn into murder into, and it just doesn't. And I don't accept that as the explanation. And I think there's some deeper issues with you that would allow you to kill these 2 women, and I think it's related to the fight. Because of the nature of the offense, the continuing harm to the victims, my vote is to deny.
Mr. Russian?
Mr. Johnson, based on express opposition of both of the victim's family, nature of the offense, law enforcement opposition, and a lack of responsibility and remorse for your offenses, my vote is to deny.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Based upon all of the comments and reasons espoused by my colleagues, my vote likewise is to deny.
So, Mr. Johnson, you've received 4 votes to deny your application. So today, sir, your application for clemency has been denied.
Thank you, ma'am.
That concludes our business at the penitentiary. So we're going to sign off from there at 4:27.
Thank you.